Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe, entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Welcome to episode 105 of the Industry Angel. It's been a fantastic week so far, and I loved Sunday, the 30th of September, as it was International Podcast Day. I gave a session at 2 o'clock my time and represented the UK. So thanks so much to all you wonderful people that were watching live and asking some awesome questions in the chat room. You know who you are. I think my session will be able to be watched again soon. Check the show notes. I'll try and link it out when it's been uploaded to YouTube. I've got a really interesting episode for you today. You might remember episode 102. I was talking about coaching a young sales guy, and I was asking him to think about mapping his career. And then I got talking about twists and turns, and I gave you a brief tour of how my work and life had panned out. Well, this episode just blew up. I had the most feedback I've ever received. My unplannable career path really resonated with you, and you got in touch via email, the social channels, and you explained your paths to me. Quite a lot on Facebook, so nice chunky paragraphs of what you've done, and they were amazing. So what I replied and what I said was I put a message out on social. Apologies I didn't put it out on the podcast. I wanted to move quick on this. I put it out on the social channels, and I asked for you to get involved and tell us your journey. But I didn't want to do a disservice to your journeys by reading them out. I wanted you to record them. So if you look now on the Industry Angel homepage, there's a facility to leave me a 90-second voice message. So feel free going forward to do so. But now what I've done, I've asked a question, you guys have replied, and we've got some fantastic listener journeys to share with you today. Quickly, a few shout outs beforehand. My good friend James Harmer enjoyed episode 102. Sell well, my friend James. Helen Oswald dropped a message on LinkedIn. Thanks, Helen. She's been telling everyone about the show. That's how it grows, word of mouth. Please keep talking. Laura Bowler recently found the show and she's been downloading various episodes. Laura loved the Casper Berry one and has found her own small epiphany. Good to hear, Laura. Thanks for your support. Okay, let's start off with these listener journeys.
Hi, Ian. It's Andrew Crosley. I really love what you're doing at the moment with this Career Path podcast. My career path has been super weird. It's a maze right now. I'm still stuck in this maze. I went through school. I failed my GCSEs. Was I worried? Not really. The reason why is because at the time I wanted to be a chef, and thankfully being a chef doesn't require many GCSEs, thank God. So I went into college. I did that for around 2.5 years, and worked in a few bars and restaurants in the background, and realized that it was super long hours, very minimum money at the time. I was around 17, 18. So that wasn't for me. So I saw that the money was in corporate sales, small to medium-sized businesses, and started my career progression in sales. So I did that for around 7 years. And every time I went into a new career, a bit of my soul, let's say, was taken away because I realized it wasn't me. I always wanted to be in the creative field. So in February this year, I quit my job, started my own video production company, and hopefully I'll find the end of the maze shortly.
Hi Ian, my name's Donna Elliott. I'm the co-founder of Now Is Your Time, which is all around helping people who want to make positive change in their life, live into their dream life. And I'm a breakthrough coach, would be how I would describe myself, but it hasn't always been that way. I have only just started this company this year with my best friend, and for the 20 years prior to that, I've actually worked in contact centres. I've been a senior leader in large corporate organisations, in global roles. I've led thousands of people. I've implemented strategic quality programmes across 10,000 people in 3 to 4 different continents, and had a very, very different life, and being very much a woman in a very male-oriented industry, working with a lot of engineers, senior engineers, and it's really just going into coaching is completely different. And the reason I want to do this is that I've got a lot of life lessons from divorce, near bankruptcy, some significant abuse, physical and mental abuse in my first marriage. And my best friend, my co-founder, has actually got her own life lessons and her story to tell too. And what we want to do is use those life lessons and pay them forward to help other people heal and move on in their life. And that's us. Love to hear from you. Bye.
Hi, I'm Gavin from Mediaborn. I've had a random journey through my career from a degree and a master's in chemistry. I then went on to work in the environmental sector, working for an environmental charity, running environmental improvement schemes in Leeds. I then moved on to Leeds City Council and did 8 years working for Leeds City Council in project management, working with councillors and MPs and all that to try and improve some of the difficult areas of Leeds. In the meantime, I was obviously building up my photography business in the background, which is always difficult to be doing both things. I got the opportunity to move back to the Northeast after 15 years being away, which was fantastic, and it was a part-time job and to grow the business on the side. That then I had 2.5 years of that, and then the work just took over, and I went full-time photos, which is 5 years ago now. So 5 years of growing my business in the Northeast led me to where I am now, which was back in February, launching Mediaborn. It's been a crazy journey, but sometimes you just have to say yes to things and see where they lead.
Gillian Fortune. One spring day in 1971, the course of my life was set. I was 10 and my life wasn't fair. In my 10-year-old wisdom, I knew that I wanted to make a difference and make the world a fairer place. I had an epiphany. I would become a police officer, and I did, and I was fair. Years later, I became a mum. I was a brilliant mum. I once asked my children to describe me in one word. I was hoping for brilliant, and what they said was that I was fair. Over the years, I've done what needed to be done. I've pulled pints, sold sex toys, Tupperware and Clean Easy, got a degree, owned an antique shop, owned a cafe, managed projects and been a CEO. Now, I captain my own ship called Feel Good. I am a resilience builder. I teach people how to handle whatever life and work throws at them and stay standing. I teach my strategies, my techniques, and my practical ways of making a difference. I am making the world a fairer place. That is what I do, because that is who I am. Because regardless of any job titles I've had, that is who I have always been.
Bonjour, je suis un HR expert. Well, it didn't start out that way. I did languages at university, and in my final term, I remember reading out a passage in French and my lecturer stopping me and saying, "Ian, you speak French like Inspector Clouseau speaks English." At that point, I knew that probably my career at the UN as an interpreter wasn't going to take off. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I'd fancy doing something to do with management. Well, that led me to having a role within a shipyard, microfiching their personnel files. That dates me. And I thought this HR world, or personnel as it's called, looked really interesting. Wind forward 30 years, and Ian Pilbeam now runs the HR department in Edinburgh, an outsourced provider for HR and health and safety. And it's been an amazing journey. Halfway through my career, I wasn't sure if that was what I still wanted to do. And I got the amazing opportunity to go travelling with my wife and my 2 young kids. And we went backpacking for a year. And I thought maybe I'd find my new future on a desert island somewhere on a nice beach under an umbrella. But actually, I concluded that I still really enjoy helping people to find pragmatic solutions to tricky HR issues and to building the capacity of their organisations through their people. So here I am, still loving doing HR after all these years.
Hello, it's Natalie Paris here from Natalingo. I knew from the age of about 16 that I wanted to be a teacher. The original plan when I came from France to England was to teach in a secondary school, be the French assistant for a year. I was 19 at the time. But then I changed my mind and decided to stay here to teach French to the pupils of England. So I did my teacher training and thought that would be it. I would be a full-time teacher for the rest of my life. But then after 19 years, decided to take the plunge and become a self-employed teacher, which I hadn't thought I would ever do in a million years, lose that stability and everything, all the advantages. But anyway, I did it. So 4 years ago, became self-employed primary school teacher. Then the idea of the bus came, and now I visit schools with my mobile library bus, do storytellings, mostly in French, bit of Spanish and German. And I've never looked back. It's just the best thing I ever did. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Ian. It's Niraj Kapoor here. How are you? My career. Okay, so I spent 2 years on the dole when I first came to England from Northern Ireland. That was pretty rough, and it'll really mess with your head as well. And I finally did what most people do who can't find work. I got a job in sales. So I started off in publishing in the good old days in the 90s. I then got headhunted by The Guardian, worked my way to middle management, then lost my job in the recession, which was horrible. I went through a really bad midlife crisis, couldn't pay the bills, couldn't find work. Then the best thing that ever happened to me happened. I discovered personal development and I discovered charity work. And I then got a job at Informa as a manager. Spent the next 6 years going through many levels of management, which was amazing. Traveled the world, achieved my dreams, but got burnt out very quickly after 5 years. And then went to work for a small business, thinking it'd be a nice change of pace. I then spoke back to the boss's daughter, who treated my staff like crap. And I got fired by email after 6 weeks. So I had to restart my life over. And I wrote a book, which became Everybody Works in Sales, which became a bestseller. And now I work as an expert sales coach and trainer. I work with NatWest. I train staff at University of Buckingham, Cranfield Innovation Centre, Federation of Small Businesses, and now Barclays. I'd love to hear from you, 07733179854, and be on your show. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, Mr. Farah. It's Sarah Crimmins here. You'll know me from Newcastle Startup Week. I produced that with Paul Lancaster. My career has taken many twists and turns. I started off in my mum and dad's sandwich shop, managing that, sandwich shop and cafe. Then I worked in restaurants and reception in car garages before I finished my degree in marketing management and moved to the bright lights of London to work in corporate, fast-moving consumer goods, food manufacturer, really big one in London. And realised by the age of 23, when I was suffering from stress, anxiety and burnout, that it just wasn't for me. So I did the first thing I've ever done for myself, really, which was move to Paris and do my teaching English as a foreign language qualification in Paris and taught in Paris and Barcelona. Then moved back to Newcastle because my boyfriend lived there. Did many shitty jobs before I realised that I just don't suit conventional life, conventional work. So I set up my own business doing social media, community management, organising conferences, events and retreats. And but then life took a bit of a different turn. In last November, my best friend raped me. So I ended up having a really big healing process after that. And as a result, I have found my sole purpose, which is helping men to express themselves and share what's on their hearts by creating safe spaces for them. And that's really my sole purpose work. But who knows what will come next? There's always something new.
Hi Ian, it's Sean Causer from Impro Media here. Career-wise, you can probably tell from my voice I'm not a local lad. Relocated from Kent back in 2007 for love, like most of us do when we relocate. I actually used to work on the Channel Tunnel many years ago. When I first relocated to South Tyneside, I started shelf stacking in Asda on the night shift, which was great fun. And luckily, through a friend, got a bit of luck, and I started telemarketing for a local commercial cleaning company, which, to be honest, I wasn't very good at. Luckily, the MD was a bit of a dabbler, and he'd got into this thing called Google Ads, or Google AdWords as it was, and he asked me if I could take a look. And luckily for me, my career kind of came from there. I moved on from there to being the marketing manager. From there, I moved agency side and worked for Urban River in South Shields. And then from there, 2.5 years ago, set up my own marketing business. So there we go. You know, things can go well. All right, cheers, Ian. Thanks very much.
Hi, so I'm Rob Mackins. My journey, I guess, started off at school. I failed my GCSEs. After I failed them, I needed to resit them because I wanted to go on to a pre-nursing course to eventually train as a nurse. One of the GCSEs I did was PE, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the PE and sport side of things. So I kind of drifted into doing a BTEC National Diploma in Sport. I went to university and ended up teaching sport in an FE college as a sports lecturer. Drifted around FE, going from sort of lecturing to project management and then curriculum management, and eventually left there in 2011 to set up my own business, teaching scuba diving, but also doing private training, and now work as a manager in a local South Shields private training company. So yeah, all good.
Well, hello Ian Farrar, it's Polly Brennan here from Adventures Coaching. How are you? So, in answer to your question about careers, when I was a wee girl, I used to always tell people that when I grew up, I wanted to be a lollipop lady, so I wouldn't have to start work until I was 65. But as I was a teenager growing up, I wanted to help people and I wanted to become an occupational therapist. And unfortunately, in my teenage years, I discovered boys and booze and went on to fail all my exams, much to the horror of my family. Instead, I went to what I would call the University of Life, which involved bar work in Glasgow. I learned a hell of a lot, and travelling in India. And while I was there, I was inspired by the work of ActionAid. They were teaching people skills for independent living and entrepreneurship, and I just was really blown away by that. So when I came back home, I became inspired to carve out that career for myself in occupational therapy. But I had a year when I had to get my qualifications and earn some cash. Went to the job centre for a job and ended up getting a job in the job centre, which was hilarious. But I went on and got my qualifications. I got my honours degree and I've worked for the NHS ever since. Much to my surprise, 3 years ago, I ended up training to be a coach and jumping into entrepreneurship myself and set up my own business, which I guess gives me childish excitement and scares me in equal measures. And hey, I'm having a ball, but who knows what's next?
Hi, Ian. You asked me for a bit of feedback on my career journey in 90 seconds. There's a challenge. Really interestingly, when I finished university, because I did go to university, I know a lot of folks don't believe that, I kind of fell into my first ever real proper paid sales job, a sales merchandiser. I was fortunate enough to be at the launch of Dyson as part of that, which would be a big thing at the time, and then went through various sales jobs, sales management, came to a position where I did the sales launch for BlackBerry as well, so I've been involved in some really interesting product launches. Sales was never kind of a well-defined career path for me, and if I'm honest, and being brutally honest, the reason I chose a sales job after university, because it was one of the few jobs that offered me a company car. That's how shallow I was. I don't know actually if much has changed. Really, my career path has then been shaped and defined up until the point 8 years ago now where I decided to leave the corporate world and leave the corporate world of selling and start up New Results, which was a positive choice in terms of wanting to go and make a difference with sales training, coaching and development. And really, it's that twists and turns that I think make life interesting. And it's about making positive choices to do the stuff that you love every single day. And that's exactly what I do. I love what I do every day because I've really thought about my career and where I want to go. Hope that's fine, mate.
Hi, I'm Carl Buckley, MD of Marketing and Digital Design Agency Urban River. At school, I always knew I wanted to be my own boss and to practice law as a barrister. That fell flat on its face when I realised the costs involved and it wasn't really affordable. They say you shouldn't have regrets, but that's mine. Decided university wasn't for me as I didn't really see much benefit and wanted to go straight into the world of employment and embarked on a management development program with NatWest, which I absolutely hated. But it did lead me into a role within finance and accountancy and audit practice and by chance, management consultancy at an early age, which brought me in contact with a lot of large projects and sort of developed some skills of problem solving, communication skills, and sort of opened my eyes, as I say, at quite an early age. Following that, I then moved into my self-employed business journey, got involved and set up our own consultancy, then moved into a care home business, then moved into a business consultancy, and then back into finance, and ultimately became involved in Urban River at its outset. Here I am 15 years later. Did I see that one coming? Absolutely not. But it just goes to show that and what makes things so interesting and gives you so much experience. Now, where to next?
I absolutely love those. Now, what are our takeaways from that then? Well, it's simple enough for me. You never know what's on the corner. You never know who you're going to meet. What opportunities come your way, or actually how you will be feeling in 10 years' time. I want you to think about any young people you know. Someone who may be struggling to plan their path. Maybe someone that didn't get the grades they were looking for, or the job they'd worked and planned so hard for. Could you let them listen to those listener journeys? What do you think that might? Do you think that might help them? Let me know. I don't want to break the paths, of course. You know, if you're young and your dream and plan is to be a teacher, a doctor, an architect, then of course do what your heart tells you. There's nothing the matter with that. I know teachers, for example, who dreamt as a child of teaching and their dream come true. Great stuff. Twists and turns aren't for everyone. But if you're feeling a little bit disenchanted, confused about your path, it'll work out. Keep an open mind, use your network, or get a new one. Be optimistic, stay positive, and be you, because you guys are bloody amazing. So until next time, I'm Ian Farrer. This is the Industry Angel, and thanks for listening.